So what we're going to do is we're going to just like kind of roll through this presentation, all that fun stuff, learn a little bit about, like I said, breaking the sugar habit, what different sugars are, what they're called, because sometimes we don't realize that there's actually sugar in things. Some of it's good and some of it's not good. But we're going to teach you how to read the label and identify some of them. We're going to teach you what it does in your brain and why it's such an addictive thing and why we can't stop eating it. Why sugar, what's up, Patrick? Why sugar could be actually more addictive than crack and cocaine. It's ridiculous. You may not believe me yet, but if you've ever been on the sugar bandwagon and tried to get off, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? How many people have been there? Just me? That's it? All right. Yeah, I see that. I get the face goes, oh yeah. Oh yeah, this one. Right? See? Even Ray. But that's the thing. So we're going to give you those tips and tricks. Hey, Kathy. Connected to audio. She probably didn't hear me yet. So this is awesome. I'm really, really glad to see you guys. And, we're going to cover this. After we're all done, we're going to have an open Q&A. If you have questions that you want to ask during the presentation, I may stop and ask you guys if you have questions. You can feel free to pop them in the chat too. To do that, and I might just pop in and answer them as they go. But it's cool. So how many people are struggling right now with getting rid of sugar and not eating it? Anybody? No? Yeah? Okay. Just one, two?
Red.
I saw a head scratch. I saw two. Okay, that's brave. Brave of you to stick your hand up and admit it. But here's the deal. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, okay? Go ahead and get that started. I'll put it in presenter mode. I got some slides for you. And for those of you that don't know, I do like all kinds of fun stuff, Melissa and I, and we interact. But we do, there we go. I think that's the one I want to share, right? Shaboom. All right. And okay. Do you guys see the one slide up or do you see everything?
One slide.
One slide. Perfect. Thanks, Donna. All right. So here's the gig. Melissa and I do these presentations all over the place, all over the state. We do them virtually throughout the world, actually. We did them in, some really, really cool places like Brazil for a university. So this stuff is fun. So I hope you enjoy it. We do virtual cooking demos too. So for those of you that want to learn how to make like really healthy, delicious 15-minute meals, literally from the time you first chop your first piece of garlic to the time you sit and eat it, it's 15 minutes. We do those as well. We're going to be doing one for Union County in a month, but we're going to start doing these again. It was really, really cool. Now, if I can only cook as well as Cindy's, son does, we'll be in business, right?
Yeah.
Some
It's
good stuff.
Good cod tonight. I didn't take a picture, but cod, orange sauce, so good.
Nice.
So good. Brussels sprouts and sweet potato.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have? We had boneless lean ribs with brown rice and mixed vegetables. Not quite as good as your orange cod, but it'll be done. All right, so how to break sugar cravings. So we know that we've been stuck before, but here's the deal. So this is what we're going to cover today. What it is, why do we love it, what happens in our bodies, what happens in our brains, why we get so stuck on it, right? All the different names for it, right? Arose by any other name. That means there's so many different forms of sugar, and some of it we don't realize that when we read a label, we don't realize that the thing we're looking at is really sugar, and is it good sugar or bad sugar? So we're going to identify those, Why is processed sugar bad? Is it all sugar? Not necessarily. Processed and synthetic is really what you want to avoid. Natural sugars, we'll cover them, but fruits and milk, milk sugar, those aren't as bad. You're looking for added sugar. So what could you do? How do you get away from it? In America, we have so much processed food, it's almost impossible to duck and dodge and get away from it. But if you're smart, it's really actually simple. All right, and then we'll give you a formula for success, develop your plan, and talk about next steps. So all of you already work with us doing training, and we give you the nutrition plans as well. So this is a nice start. So here it is, what it is and why do we love it? Well, most sugar, natural sugar, right? If you're looking at unprocessed but naturally occurring sugar that we like before we process comes from beets and sugar cane, right? So sugar cane, actually, if you took sugar cane and started to chew it and it wasn't processed or you squeezed out the water, that's really not that bad for you. It doesn't give you that huge spike in insulin. So in other words, the craving doesn't keep coming back. Your insulin doesn't go up and down. It's not really bad for your blood sugar in the same way because it's got a lot of fiber and there's so little of it in that sugar cane, the actual sugar, that it's not going to cause that big response. Okay. If I forget to talk about it, remind me to tell you guys about watermelon and is it good or is it bad? Now, out of curiosity, do you guys see a little screen with my face in it talking as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sad for you guys. But here's the deal. So there's an emotional, physical, and psychological response to sugar. Now, be ready for this. Who thinks they know why sugar, there's such a compulsion to eat sugar? Does anybody know? Somebody out there's got to spit something out.
Energy.
Okay, yeah, sure. So what a little more about it do you think it might be?
Releases endorphins.
Yeah, totally. Right? That's that psychological point. It releases endorphins. That's physical and it's psychological, right? Why else do we think it is?
Say it.
There's dopamine. Well, it produces dopamine inside your brain, making you want more.
100%. Exactly. Right? Look at that. Young Joseph, man, a dude that's like the honors math kid. I know he says stop saying that, but I figured I'd embarrass him anyway. But yeah, man, absolutely true. So does anybody else know why, what it is about sugar that causes us to want more? And that dopamine rush really is a huge component of it. You guys got any other ideas? So I'm going to show you a picture. All right, you ready? Check this out. Get ready. Ooh, Melissa and Kale just pulled up. So if I got bright, it's their, see? That's the car headlights. Yeah, bright. All right, so, what is it and why do we love it? So that's the dopamine explosion. If you look at the image that shows you what cocaine does and how it brightens up these certain centers in your brain, right? That when you do it, it's not just the physical, but look what it does there. It makes you a wow, woohoo! I need more of that. Now look next to it and look how much brighter sugar makes it. Oh my friggin' God. So if you were to say that sugar can be more addictive than cocaine, you can make that assertion and be right. Because look at what it does to the centers in those brains. Imagine the dopamine rush you get from that. Now, take it one step further. Who here has heard of high fructose corn syrup? Right? Yeah, that's not the only wicked thing out there, but that's just something that we know of. And we're going to cover more of this in a little bit. All right. But high fructose corn syrup brightens that thing up even 10 times higher. So it's not just sugar. It's not the sugar cane and beet sugar and all the unprocessed sugar. It's not just the fruit or whatever, because fruit doesn't do that, because there's fiber. But the big thing there is with the high fructose corn syrup, the processed fake sugar or the real bumpy junk that's like in ice cream and even a lot of bread, right? Is bread necessarily bad for you? Not really, but when you look at the stuff in it, and we'll cover that, but this is the kind of thing it does to you. Imagine even brighter. Of course it's addictive. Of course it is. So it rose by any other name. Monikers and mimickers, a faux pas pass on these foes. Get it? So what is that? Monikers and mimickers, right? What are other names for sugar? Right? Other monikers for sugar are beetroot, raw sugar, unrefined sugar, and refined sugar. This is like your sugar cubes, your table, the brown sugar in a bag, right? The sugar in the raw. Beet sugar is one of your better sugars, right? Cane sugar, when it's unrefined, is one of your better sugars. Now, we'll talk about fruit sugars and all that other stuff in a second, but those are the sugars that really aren't all that bad for you. Some other mimickers are agave, honey, molasses, right? We heard of these. Coconut sugar is really popular these days. Maple syrup, date sugar, honey, we said that. Fruit juice, brown rice syrup, sugar. Barley malt syrup, sugar, believe it or not. Barley malt, it kind of sounds like, beer, right? No. That's bad stuff. They mix these things in your food. So when you read a food label and you see things like that, right, you're in for something that's a little heavier duty than just unprocessed sugar. Is it horrible? It's not horrible. Okay. It's a little more natural forms, but some of them are a little worse than others. Like brown rice syrup really isn't the best. If you got to do it, you could do agave. But let's talk about the faux pas. What do you want to pass on? Here is high fructose corn syrup. Believe it or not, and regular corn syrup, right? Xylitol, and they just renamed high fructose corn syrup to something else. I forget what it was. Aspartame, saccharin, Splenda, Ace K. Now, Ace K is interesting. It was developed by Sloan Kettering to fight childhood diabetes. Does anybody know what, these artificial sweeteners, if they have an insulin response? What that means is when you eat sugar, your body secretes insulin. We've heard of this stuff, right? And it gets the sugar out of your blood to where it needs to go, right? Not necessarily a bad thing. But who here knows if Splenda, Ace K, and saccharin, aspartame, xylitol, right, stevia, do these things have the same insulin response as sugar does, or any of these other sweeteners? Anybody know? Okay, somebody said yes. Does everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have the same insulin response. So why are they bad for you, though? Here's the killer. Think of everything I say to you is going to make total sense today, and you're going to go, wow, no fooling, that makes sense. So when you eat something that has aspartame in it, or Ace K, or Splenda, or stevia, you're still getting that sweetness up here, right? So that kind of jacks you up and makes you want more. Here's the other thing that happens. Because it's non-caloric or little teeny caloric, your body gets that rush up here and it prepares itself. It gets prepared for what? For the sugar and calories that are going to come, and then they never come. So your body now is in a mode where it wants to fulfill what it thinks it's having. Not just the psychological of, oh my God, I love the dopamine, but also it's prepared. It's getting everything ready, and then it doesn't get it. So it wants it, and you continue to crave sweet products. Okay, that's why drinking Diet Coke, that's why drinking artificially sweetened products, throwing it in stuff you eat too, but typically it's drinks that we do, is just as bad for you as having the real deal. Why? It's not necessarily caloric. It's not necessarily going to raise your insulin or increase your blood sugar, but you're going to continue to look for things. So they found, there's plenty of studies. One of them actually just straight up said that even people that are eating a low calorie diet and they add artificial sweeteners, they tend to eat more food than people that don't eat artificial sweeteners. Is that nuts? They eat more calories. Why? Because you crave it, because of that response. Who here is surprised about that? Anybody? Right? Nuts. I don't see a lot of hands, but hey, it's pretty amazing, right? So, hey, Barbara, good to see you. All right, so why is it really bad? There you go. Oop, went too far. Why is it bad? Oh, there's something called the glycemic index. What does that mean? Anybody know what that means? All right, no.
How
I
fast
think
your blood
it's
sugar rises?
What's that?
How fast your blood sugar rises?
Boom! There we go. I was about to say, Cindy, no cheating, but
Sorry.
Cindy knows most of this stuff, and absolutely help me out, Cindy. I appreciate it. So it's how fast insulin gets secreted by something. What does that do? So insulin's job, and I have a nice video out there that takes about 2-3 minutes that shows you what insulin's job is and how it works. So imagine in your bloodstream, right? You eat something and it's, very sugary. All this sugar gets into your bloodstream really, really fast. Well, your body is only allowed to have somewhere between, 76 and 110, particles, you could say, per amount of blood. Whatever it is, you're only allowed so much sugar in your blood at any one given time. if there's more than that, more insulin is secreted. And it's kind of like Uber drivers. All of a sudden, there's too many people to be picked up, and all the Uber drivers go out and pick them up and then rush them off the street. It's almost like a crowded room. The bouncer makes everybody leave. And usually when that happens, they kick more people out than they really need to. That's when your blood sugar goes up and then it crashes back down because your body overreacts. All right, so the glycemic index is how fast you digest food and it gets into your bloodstream. What are some of the things that affect the pace, the speed at which something digests and gets into your bloodstream? Anybody know?
How refined it is.
Yep, that's one thing for sure. Now, why is that true? What is it about the refining process that makes it get in faster?
The stripping away of something, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Typically, it's stripping away of fiber, like, grains and fruit. When you pull the sugar out of it, you don't have the fiber now that slows it down. Sometimes they refine it and it breaks certain protein bonds or other bonds, or you have long chains of carbohydrates and then they split it apart. Now your body doesn't have to break up that chain, and it's a more simple carbohydrate. It gets in faster. Does that make sense to everybody? Have I lost anybody on any of that stuff?
I have a question.
Yeah, do it.
In science class, we're learning about starch, and I learned that starch breaks down into glucose, which is actually sugar. So does that mean bread produces a lot of sugar? And also, we also learned that glucose goes into your bloodstream much faster than any other thing, well, any other molecule, because it's smaller and less dense than all the other ones.
Yeah. So that's some of the chains of sugars that when they take a bunch of these types of sugars and put them together, your body then has to break them down. So if it doesn't have to break that bond and you just got glucose, that's like when you're in the hospital, you see the glucose drip coming down. If you notice, it doesn't rush out, right? It drips little by little because your body doesn't need that much all the time. It just gives it a steady bit, right? It also gives that to you because it's going right in, right? You can't digest it if it's going right into intravenously. But yeah, so if you took a whole bunch of those molecules and put them together and chained them together, you have a complex carbohydrate. But when you start to break those apart, you're diminishing the amount of work that your body has to do. Your body's got to break those bonds and break them down, right? In a long chain carbohydrate. And that's what takes time. So when something has a lot of fiber, it has to break down all these different chains in order to get into your bloodstream. The more complex carbohydrate is, the slower it takes to get into your bloodstream. It's really simple. So bread, for example, why is bread so bad for you? Hey, you want to say hi? Yeah. Melissa's here. Everybody likes Melissa. There she is. I'm not really at the studio. That's just a faux background. So bread. Is bread bad for you? Well, if you take a look here, most typical bread that you're going to buy in a loaf in a store, you look at two pieces of those bread, it's just as bad, if not worse, than eating a candy bar. Anybody know why that is? Go ahead.
Because there's a lot of starch in bread, and well, bread is practically made out of starch, so it produces a lot of sugar into your bloodstream.
Yeah, it's very refined. One, two. That Snickers bar over there has peanuts and it's got a lot of fat in it. It slows down. So fat is one of the things that could also buffer and slow down how fast carbohydrates or anything really gets absorbed and digests, right? That bread doesn't have anything. That bread has been ground up so finely and they got rid of all the chaff, any of the fiber in it. And really, a lot of times they bleach out or pull out a lot of the natural vitamins and minerals. Right? So there's really nothing in that bread. At least in the friggin' Snickers bar, you're getting a little cacao and you're getting some peanuts, right? So it's got better nutrition than that bread does. Do not go out and grab a Snickers because Tony said it's better than bread. It's not. It's not okay, all right? But you get the idea. Imagine eating a Snickers bar thinking it's healthier than that stupid bread that we're eating. So we'll talk, another time about what you could do instead of eating bread or what kind of breads are better and all that kind of stuff. So, aside from eating some extra fiber, like I said, two slices of whole wheat bread, and there's the quote. Dr. William Davis, he's a preventative cardiologist and author of Wheat Belly. Now, I don't love these types of books, but there's always good little pieces and good little nuggets in every book that you read. Just be careful when you're reading one of these, little diet books, Wheat Belly and all these other things.
See what it
Take things with a grain of salt
is.
and put them up against things you already know. So we talked about the insulin response. That's those Uber drivers. And sometimes what happens is your body will overreact, right? It'll overreact to the amount of sugar that's in there, pull so much out,
Double tonight.
right?
I thought about that today.
So the link to obesity. We all know that if we eat sugar, and a lot of people say if we, eating bread, bread's the devil. If we do these things, we're gonna, become obese. That's why we're obese. Or we're obese because everything's so processed. Here's the deal. Let's take a sidestep from sugar for a minute. Sugar is the worst friggin' thing you can do to yourself, right? Outside of like eating pesticides and poison. Really, really bad for you. When we talk about the link to obesity, think about it. If you've got that Snickers bar there, and you've got those 2 pieces of bread, you've got pasta, you've got other things that are refined. We all know refined foods, refined and processed foods, or anything that are further away from its natural form, right? Anytime you do that, you're stripping away some kind of nutrition. It could be fiber, it could be vitamins, it could be minerals. Now, I promise you one thing. For those of you who are hungry at night, there's 2 guaranteed reasons why. 2 guaranteed reasons why you are hungry at night. I'm not saying that you eat at night, because that could be psychological. Oh, I just got to crunch something. That's outside. 2 reasons why you're hungry at night. Who knows what they are?
You didn't get enough nutrition during the day.
Boom, number 1. Now, what does nutrition mean? Let's talk about that as soon as somebody gives us the other reason why we're still hungry at night.
Is it habit, like bad habits?
Right, so that's different than hunger, Christine, but that is 100% one of the reasons why we'll continue to eat at night is because, we're used to that. We're used to that, right? Absolutely. What's up, Max? You're shaking there, bacon. So yeah, so habit is a reason why we'll eat at night. But why are we hungry at night? 1, we're not getting the nutrition we need, right? What's the
Falling
other?
blood sugar.
Falling blood sugar, yeah. That's definitely it. So it's what we're eating, right? If you don't get enough calories during the day, that's the second one. If you're not getting enough calories, total calories, you're gonna be hungry at night because your body realized that it just went through the whole day. It didn't get enough calories, what it's supposed to take to survive, and now it's looking for more.
Got a problem?
And when it does that, it goes into a kind of emergency mode. Because remember, your body, number 1, is a survival mechanism. It wants to perpetuate and keep going so it can keep this going, which is your brain, which is really you. It wants to keep you alive. And the only way to do that is to get this thing, right, this big pack of meat going. And if you don't get enough calories to feed what it takes to survive, your body's going to go look for some, and it's going to look for something that's fast. Okay. That being said, what are some of the things that are fast to eat? I'll answer this one for you. Fruit. See, here you got to realize, look at what we got. When you go to a supermarket, what do you see? Forget about the perimeter. What do you see in the supermarket? What feeds aisles and aisles and 90% of the market?
Processed foods and
Processed
snacks.
junk.
Quick stuff, microwave.
Yeah. Processed, convenience, packaged, all this crap. It's all junk. Now, look, I eat cereal sometimes, right? I like ice cream sometimes. I'll eat a little extra sometimes. Yeah, I'll eat macaroni, right? But let's be real. You got to be judicious with this stuff. And really, quite honestly, you have to be careful about how much you're doing. Your body wants nutrition, right? So if you look at the supermarket, and you look at all the choices, everything we eat is so friggin' processed and so devoid of vitamins and minerals, it makes sense that we overeat because our bodies are craving not just calories. Once you've got the calories, so your body first looks at the total number of calories it's got. Then if it's got enough calories, it starts looking at the quality. So it's quantity first. Do I have enough? Then secondary, is it nutritious enough? Do I have the vitamins and minerals and the nutrients that I need? Usually the answer is no. That's why we eat so many calories as a society here, definitely in the US. How many of us know people that are from another country? You know, I don't care if it's Germany, I don't care if it's India. They go back home, they eat more than they've ever eaten. They don't even exercise, and they lose 15 pounds in a week. That's because they don't have the crappy food that we have. The processed food we have causes us to overeat simply because our bodies are designed to seek out nutrition, the amount of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, antioxidants, all the things we need to survive and thrive. Now, if we're eating things like cereal that have less nutrition, our body still wants this much. So what do we got to do? Eat 4 times the amount to get the nutrition. And I got news for you. Oh, but Tony, I looked at the cereal. It has all the vitamins and minerals in it. Synthetic vitamins and minerals were highly, extraordinarily processed. Like, you know, it's fortified with, that means they're adding it back in. And typically it's not a natural source. Your body doesn't know what to do with that. It doesn't recognize it most of the time when it's synthetic or it's over processed. So again, our bodies are looking for this and it only sees this. So what do? We eat 4 times as many calories to get the nutrition that we need. When you're eating sugar, bread that's highly processed, candy bars, ice cream, your body's getting the calories, but it still desires, it's still seeking the nutrition. So you will continue to eat. That's why you can be stuffed and still want more. Okay, folks? It's not just the psychology of it. There's really something inherently going on in your body where it's looking to survive and thrive. You're not giving it to it, and it's still going to look for it. Does this make sense? When you think back at all the times that you were hungry and overeat and why you're gaining weight, right? Or when we've gained weight, does this make a lot of sense? Of course it does. Of course it does. So imagine if we sit down and eat closer to the ground, all right? Here. I also talked about knowing your genetics. I'm just going to say briefly, and then we'll talk about it another time. Knowing your genetics, some people are disposed to better process fats and digest and process fats than they are carbohydrates. Other people can eat more carbohydrates. Like me, for example. So we used to have this really awesome genetic test. We would, it was a saliva test. You send it out, huh?
Ray was supposed to come in.
He was on.
Oh, he was supposed to be my proxy.
Oh, okay. So,
Sorry.
So you would, he should be here. Yeah, he's there. He's sitting there with his glasses on. He's waving. We just don't see everybody because I'm looking at my screen here. Looks like we lost Jimmy too. All right, so here's the deal. Genetics, you would saliva test, send this thing away, and it would tell you this. It would tell you whether you were carb sensitive, fat sensitive, or you needed a balance of all 3. All right. The other thing it would tell you is how hard you needed to work out, how long you needed to work out, and how often you needed to work out, frequency, intensity, and duration. Now, I helped 200 and some odd people get this test within 18 months, and it was a game changer. Here's what I learned from it. Now, they no longer make it. Otherwise, I'd have everybody get it because I loved it. Here's what I learned along the way. Basic patterns, behaviors, and what I've learned about the way people eat. When we have these conversations over the first week of people working with us, I pretty much could tell you within 95% accuracy which they are because I've seen these patterns. Some of you are eating carbohydrates and gaining weight, but it's not because you're carbohydrate sensitive. It's because you're eating the wrong carbohydrates. What are the right carbohydrates? Well, let's talk about that. Look at this. Look at this slide. What does that look like right there? It looks like natural food, right? The closer you get to the ground and the more natural food you eat, the better it's going to be. Why? It's more nutritious. It's got the fiber and all this other stuff in it, but it's got the things that your body craves, that your body needs. You know, there's a difference between need, like I need niacin, I need this, I need that, I need antioxidants, I need vitamin C, and between, I need a steak. Your body, if your body's craving something like steak or broccoli, it's probably because you need those minerals and vitamins that it contains, and that's okay. But when you're craving sugar, it's because of all that other stuff. So what could you do to break the sugar habit? Quit for 2 weeks. Come hell or high water, hold onto your chair, go through a detox, sweat and do the DTs and all that stuff, and just don't eat it for 2 weeks. If you stay away for 10 days and then have a little bit of sugar, restart. Because as soon as you eat it, it's going to kick that in. How many times did we go like 4 or 5 days without eating sugar? And then also we had some and like we couldn't stop. That monster kicked back in, right? Because of dopamine. We know why now.
Yeah.
We get it. Eat low glycemic foods. What does that mean? Things with a lot of fiber. So low glycemic foods are all types of beans, berries, steel-cut oats, whole oats, right? Lentils are one of my favorite forms, right? Barley, quinoa, bulgur, right? Unprocessed wheat, right? Heavy grains that are not processed, right? These are sweet potatoes are fairly low. But all these other foods are like super low. Now there's other complex carbohydrates that are good too. Vegetables, bump up your vegetables. Why? There's a lot of fiber. It'll slow down how fast things digest. And they contain a heck of a lot of nutrition, vitamins and minerals that your body wants and needs. So this way you're not craving things later. Sometimes we want to eat because we're dehydrated and we confuse our hunger for hydration. I guarantee you, if you're not hydrated, which means at least half your body weight in water, right? For most people, you're dehydrated. And if you start drinking more water, you will start losing more fat fast. Your skin will be better. Your hair will be better. You'll be amazed at how great you feel. You'll sleep better. All these amazing things will happen. Okay. And I promise you won't be as hungry. I promise you won't be confused. And I promise you'll have better bowel movements. Right. So eat regular intervals. Eat healthy snacks like piece of fruit, but buffer it with some carbs or fat. So an apple and peanut butter is not a really great snack. The reason why we talk about that kind of stuff is because it beats eating a bag of chips. I know some of you have eaten chips for lunch. I've heard it, right? I won't say who or who of you, right? But some of you are smiling. All right. So eat the healthy food. An apple with peanut butter or apple with nuts is indeed better. I found that most people are protein deficient. We'll cover that in another topic. But be prepared. What does be prepared mean? Be prepared means don't go out without some healthy options to eat. What are some things you could bring with you? Sure, you could pack things in a cooler, like yogurt, like other things, string cheese. God, I hate string cheese as a snack because it doesn't really do much for you, but I guess it's better than grabbing a Snickers bar. Who the heck eats a string cheese and is satisfied for 3 hours? Nobody. A mouse, right? A teeny little baby, maybe. We're not babies. I tell my wife all the time, when you give Kira a snack, give her a snack like you would give me. She's an adult. All right, give her the protein, a little bit of carbs, a little bit of fat, but make it good. Give it enough calories. But you could be prepared simply. If you absolutely had to have a protein bar or a protein shake, it's better than a bag of chips, a Wendy's burger, right? Something else that's highly processed that you're going to grab, right? I'm going to tell you, Kind bars are not the best thing to eat. They're high glycemic. They're still processed. Nuts are not high in protein. You're being lied to. Nuts are 75% calories from fat. They're 3/4 fat. That being said, nuts are a natural healthy food. You should include them in your diet, but just know what you have. I think the problem is most people don't know what they're eating. They don't really have a full picture. Right? When I go out to eat, what do I eat? I don't know what to eat. I hear that all the time, and that's normal. Most people feel that way, and most people don't know what to eat, how to make healthy hacks. One simple thing is, some people don't want to make a big fuss, and they don't want to cause a big thing. They don't want to be the center of attention. Oh, when I go out with so and so, it's always a problem. They're always asking for something special. It's so embarrassing. Not really. You want chicken parm? I like chicken parm. I ask them to have grilled chicken instead of chicken cutlets, right? Instead of breaded chicken. You know how much calories that saves? You know how much healthier it makes it? Saturated fat is horrible. We're not going to talk about how horrible that is for your blood sugar and all the other gunk it does to you. But eat food at irregular intervals, be prepared. You can have that protein bar, you can have that protein shake, but what about a piece of fruit? What about the fruit and nut butter? It still trumps hitting a window. It still trumps the Snickers bar. Yeah, it trumps the Quaker Oat Valley friggin' granola bars. Those things are packed with sugar and very little nutrition, right? So be careful with what you're eating. Read the label. You have no idea how lucky you are. I've been doing this 32 years and you've got me at the other end of your phone. Call, text. You got Melissa, you got me, you got Ray. Call us. Don't try to figure this out for yourself. That's why you're with us, so we can help you. There's never a time when you're going to call or text that we're going to go, oh God, this one again. Ever. Never will happen. That's what we promise you. When you walk in the door or you give us a call, well, however we're working together, that's what we promised. And we really enjoy doing it for you because your success becomes our success. So you have to remember that. I always tell people the people who get the best results are the people who communicate with us the most. Never be shy about texting or calling us. You are absolutely never bothering us. I could promise you. All right. So be prepared with some healthy options. Make your food in advance because I don't know about you, but if dinner time comes and I'm hungry and there's nothing to eat, I'm either going to get pissed off and stay pissed off, hangry, or I'm going to eat something I ought not to eat just because I need to pack something in. And we are all the same. Anybody that says it's not like that, you're a little different than most other people, okay? But you got to prepare. That's why we do these healthy cooking demos. That's why we teach you how to make, healthy, delicious recipes in 15 minutes. That's why I teach how to make a dozen, that's 12 healthy, delicious recipes. And how long? 30 minutes. 12 recipes in 30 minutes, and they all feel fresh when you eat them because they're put together at the point of assembly. They're fresh. All right. That's another topic. Guys, we got everything. You have no excuses to do anything other than what you ought to be doing because we have all the info. All you got to do is ask. All right. And the other thing is exercise. Exercise helps balance your blood sugar. We all know that exercise is huge. Exercise will help keep your blood sugar level. It'll help you not crave the sugar as much. Now you'll have to eat more food because you'll be hungry, right? Who started working out and found out that they were hungrier, right? And that's as it should be. If you're not hungrier after you're working out, then most likely you're under eating and your calories are below where they need to be in order to survive. And if you're doing that, we need to fix it. And that's a whole nother topic again. There's so much to share with you guys. We're going to do these series on a regular basis again, because I think it's time now that we have plenty of new people that we have to start resharing all the things that we've done. If you guys aren't on YouTube, hop onto our YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com and search for Outrun Your Fork. You'll see a whole bunch of 60-second, 1.5 minute videos that talk about all this kind of stuff. Imagine when you're sitting there or you're doing, because I know you do cardio at home, right? When you're doing your cardio, pop in your earbuds and just listen to one of the videos. Look at what it is. It's very, very simple. You'll get an education of 32 years of everything I've learned in a minute and a half. It's pretty cool stuff. So arm yourself. Again, be prepared. Knowledge will help prepare you to make better decisions, right? Like we said, exercise. So here we go. Challenges of a busy life. People tell you to balance your time. Oh, you gotta, work-life balance. Bullshit. I'm just gonna call it. There's no such thing as work-life balance. I mean, who has balance in their life? If you do, God bless you. But I want to do too many things. There's no balance in my life, right? So what do I do differently? You got to make time for the things that are important. And there's a few things that you got to prioritize in order to keep yourself healthy, functioning 100%, and mentally stable, mentally at your best. Otherwise, the people that you're looking to take care of and you're doing things for, I'm definitely the one that sacrifices my own health and everything else for the sake of other people, because I feel like I need to do all this stuff, and the truth is I'm really not that important. People can do these things without me. They're not going to die if I don't get them done. And if I step back and get 7 hours of sleep instead of 3, and make it a point to do that. That's one of my shortcomings, and we'll talk about sleep another time. If I do that, I can get so much more done. I'm not cranky. I can think straight, right? Some of you relate to this, right? And if I'm having trouble sleeping, we'll cover sleep in another topic. But these are the kind of things. Make time to feed the people that you love. You love your family. You love yourself. Take the time to treat them that way and show them it's not just about running around. It's not just about doing things. It's also about nourishing. You nourish them emotionally. Got to nourish them physically. Create good habits for them. And it'll force you to create good habits for yourself. So get a schedule, make it to do it. We'll talk about organizing another time. Avoid putting out fires if you prioritize on a regular basis. You prioritize. There's Stephen Covey's awesome. If you guys don't read, you got to read, man. Oh my God. So Stephen Covey talks about the 7 habits of highly effective people. We'll cover this real quick. What that really is about, one of the things that helped me a lot was the quadrants. So take a piece of paper, right? Draw on that paper and make a little quadrant. All right, I don't think Melissa's going to get mad if I use her notebook. So take a piece of paper and draw quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Quad. There you go. Whoop. Can you see that? Yeah, now you can, right? Make quadrants. Up here, you want to put urgent and important. See this? There, urgent and important. This one would be urgent and not important. You have not important and not urgent. And you'd have what? Urgent and not important, right? So you have 4 categories. You want to spend most of your time in not urgent and important. If you find that you're always putting out fires and you're spending time in urgent and important, you're always going to be behind the 8 ball. You're not going to sleep well. You're not going to make good choices with food. Your stress level is going to be huge. Your anxiety level is going to be huge. And the more anxiety and stress and less sleep you get, the more you're going to crave sugar. It all ties together, right? You're going to gain weight, and that's going to make you more tired, make you feel even crappier, make you not happy, all this crazy stuff happens. Learn how to prioritize what's really, really important. So this way you could take the anxiety out of your life. Organize that stuff and then have somebody else hold you accountable. Make sense? For me, we're looking for an office manager now. Why? I need somebody to help organize my stuff because there's too much stuff happening. And I need somebody to help hold me accountable. Hey, Tony, you said you'd have this. Where is it? Right. All right. Help me prioritize the stuff that I really ought to be. Keep me from moving off track. Melissa's good for that. She tells me, she's like, you're getting too much in the weeds. And she brings me back. Thank God for her. She's my complete opposite. And if she was like me, we'd both be dead. Right? So you're first, man. You're first. You are the example and the leader of your house. Right? You want to live the life you've intended. So, exercise, nutrition, sleep, all these things. Don't forget about the mental and emotional health and everything that comes with it. We'll cover all these topics. So if there's a topic or a question that you have, we'll either bring back. Yeah, see, she tells me I talk too much. We'll bring back a topic. Or we'll create a new one if it's something that we don't have yet. So your formula for success looks like this. There's a 90-day rule. Some people, I think Tony Robbins says it's 30 days or 28 days, right? I believe it's 90 days. It takes 90 days to break a habit and 90 days to make a habit. Why do you think I tell people when they first work out with us, you need to stick with a program? It takes about 11 or 12 months before you really develop the habit. Here's what I found. When you're exercising and eating well and you do it for 5 years, you will never go back of your own, just like, you will never shift out of that lane of healthy eating, exercise, taking care of yourself. You never will. You will have to make a strong effort to veer off, or there will have to be a major event in your life and you will still have to force yourself off that path. 5 years, guaranteed, man. Now, how do you do that? Just look at this week. Just take care of yourself this week. Take care of yourself for this one day. Right? That's it. But I promise you, I've been doing this so long. I know that if you stick around doing it for a year, you got a darn good shot at hitting that 5-year period. If you do it for 3 months, you're done. You do it for 6 months, you're done. Within 18 months, you're back. And some of you have been there. I've seen it way too many times, right? So stick to your plan. Don't veer off. Don't let something pull you off your plan, no matter how urgent it is or how important it is. Because without your health and without your right mental state, you're not going to be of any value to people that you care about. Right? Something comes up and the plan's not working. Remember, one of the first things we say is we're going to create a plan for you that's going to put your life at the center of the plan, and we'll slide in the components of health and wellness where they make the most sense. This way you have something that will continue to grow and adapt with you as your life continues to evolve. So sometimes that plan needs to be modified, right? Throw yourself out there. Most of you don't like to put yourself out on social media. Well, get some courage and put it out there. Why? Don't be afraid to fail. Force yourself to be accountable to everybody else. It's scary. Do it. Do it. And if it makes you anxious, I'll work with you to help you get over the anxiety, all right? And communicate. Communicate with me. Communicate with your friends. Get some people on the same path. Right? If you're hanging out with people that drink all the time, you're probably going to drink more. If you're hanging out with people that eat poorly, you're probably going to eat poorly. If you hang out in the bar long enough, you're probably going to, have a beer with one of your friends. It's just the way it goes. Watch who you associate with. Hang out with other people. Hang out with each other. Hang out with other people that are looking to live the life that you want to live. And it's not just about health and wellness. It's about everything else. Hang out with people that are living the life that you want to live, and they'll rub off on you. Okay? So I want to open it up for Q&A. We're pretty much, it's 8:49. So I'd like to take a couple of questions. We're recording this for future use, so you guys can, see it again and again and again. Somewhere we go. All right, what do we got? Who's got questions? Look at you guys. You look all stunned. Who's got the first question? Who's going to be courageous?
Tony, do you have a list of snacks? A whole list of things that we could pick from.
It's a good question. I have a good amount. I can make a more comprehensive list. Why don't I make it and get it to you guys by the end of the week?
Great, thank you.
See, I spoke it. Now you're going to hold me accountable.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. List of good snacks, foods, or what?
Snacks.
Snacks.
Foods I got. Snacks, it's tricky.
Yeah, so understand something, guys. We keep stuff at the studio for convenience for you. Like, we've had those guilt-free brownies. We've had the, the chips, those macro chips or whatever, and protein shakes and all. I use those when I'm in a bind as well. But understand that we want you to eat real food first.
I'd rather eat
real food first. That stuff is the day fell apart, and I'm going to have something, right? I'll share that I eat a protein shake a day just because it's easier for me. But you want to eat real food first. Always go for food. Anytime there's these programs that'll give you, shakes and bars and all that stuff, just stay away from them. You cannot maintain that. And it's not highly nutritious for you. Good. So thank you, Cindy. Who's got a question or who's got something they want to plug in? Unmute yourself. Be courageous.
I have a question about liquid stevia.
Sure.
Sometimes
Wait, what'd you say, hon?
inside.
They want me to get Pandora.
Sorry. Go ahead, Joseph.
I have a question about liquid stevia.
Yes.
Do you recommend it or no? Do you think we should have it?
Well, what do you think after what we talked about? What do you think?
I think that when I put it in my coffee in the morning, and then I get hungry again after my breakfast around 10:30, it's this bad boy. So I'm going to drop it.
It might be. I'm not going to say it is because I don't know what your breakfast is, but give it a try. Some of this is experimentation. Go ahead. Sorry.
My next question. So speaking to that, my breakfast is usually like oatmeal, the whole oats, steel cut oats. And I kind of doctor it up and I throw blueberries and stuff in it, but it's not good. It doesn't taste great. So
it doesn't taste good.
I mean, I put some honey in it, or I put some maple syrup in it. What would you suggest I doctor it up with?
Okay, so that's a great question.
Or don't.
First off, I eat whole, regular steel cut oats plain. I love them. I think they're great. I might put a little milk in after they're cooked, but I'm used to them and I think they're yummy.
Okay.
Cinnamon is never bad to put in anything. Cinnamon is good for your blood sugar. It helps. And it's got a lot of good antioxidants. So you could try sugar. Now, again, what are you looking for? You're looking for the sweetness? Because if it's the sweetness, let's break it for 2 weeks.
I'm looking for any flavor because it really doesn't have much flavor.
Well, I'll tell you, steel cut oats have a little more flavor. They're a little more
Yeah.
nutty and they're chewy and they're hearty.
Okay.
Yeah, I've put berries in, I put bananas in, I put cinnamon
I-
in, and
I did put I had this peanut butter that had no sugar, like an all natural, no sugar added peanut butter. I put a scoop of that in it. That was good, but then I ran out of it.
so you were unprepared.
Right.
Go ahead. Melissa's going to tell you one thing that she likes to do.
Go ahead.
I put a scoop of protein powder and
Come here.
peanut butter.
Okay. Okay. I tried that. I
Yeah.
put my protein powder in it. It got all clumpy and gross.
Yeah, so the trick is you have to put a little bit extra water in. Well, you're
Okay.
using steel cuts. I use old fashioned oatmeal, but
Uh-huh.
I put a little extra water in and I
You're like a
microwave it.
ghost.
And while it's still hot, really hot,
Uh-huh.
you mix in the protein and then I put in I use flavored peanut butter, but I put a tablespoon of that in and it's delicious.
Tell them what kind of flavored peanut butter you use.
What do you mean?
Like what brand is it? What do you like?
Oh, nuts and more.
Nuts and more. Okay.
I'll send you a
It's
picture.
like our family.
Mhm.
Nuts and more. Ray, what about you? What do you do for your food?
Oh, I didn't even see
Hey,
it.
Susan.
Well, for me, for breakfast, yes, he was talking to you.
Hi. Oh, wait, that's not, is that your mom?
Yeah.
Yes, that's my
Oh,
mother.
okay.
I just got home from work.
Say, welcome back, Mama.
Normally what I do for breakfast, I usually go the egg route. I was doing for a while eggs and oatmeal. But I cut back on the oatmeal and now I'm doing eggs and yogurt in the morning. So that's my go-to at the moment.
Yeah, one of my go-tos is I get plain Greek yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt, and then I'll put some fresh berries in it, probably about a quarter cup of fresh berries and 2 cups of Greek yogurt because, I'll eat more than most of you guys. I have a little more muscle. I could afford it, and I got to keep it, right? But I'll tell you what, I did not like Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. I did not. It was tart. It was nasty. I hated it. I forced myself to like it because it's good. It was good. I mean, it's a milk product if you got an allergy, blah, blah, blah. But I forced myself because it was a better option. Now, other times I'll have, eggs with steel cut oats, right? I don't throw berries in, but I like the steel cut oats. So here's the nuts and more. This is what she likes. Right? Where do you get it?
I ordered some of them directly from them, but sometimes Vitamin Shop has them. This is cake batter. Yum. It's delicious.
Yeah, so those are some good breakfasts. I like the yogurt for me because it's quick. The eggs are great when I have time. So most of the time, we'll get to the studio at 6 a.m. I'll have my yogurt and berries 5:30, 5 o'clock, something like that. And then when I get home around 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, whatever, I'll have the eggs with some turkey bacon and the steel cut oats. Right? That's kind of like my routine. If we run out of steel cut oats, I'm kind of screwed. Then I usually turn to an Ezekiel bread or something like that. But you got to have the stuff in house. Now, remember, you're not always going to like everything, but if you stick with it, you're kind of going to get to like it. I used to not like oatmeal that wasn't sweetened. And after so long of just having plain oats with cinnamon, I kind of got used to it and I enjoyed it. And then when I threw sweetener in, it was, too much. So you got some of the things you got to push through. Make sense? Just don't ask me to eat cauliflower or lima beans. I won't do it. Those are my 2 foods that are on my no-no list, remember? How many of you created your top 10 foods I love, top 10 foods I don't love? Right? Some of you have, and some of you still owe it to me. The laugh of knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other questions we got?
Question?
Guys, sorry.
No, no sweat. No sweat. How about you, Melissa, Christine? Question, comment, something that you want to share that works for you or has worked in the past? No? Ray, what else you got, man? Give us a parting tip because I want to let everybody get a good night's sleep because that's part of your overall health, right?
For me, I like you were saying before, it's different with everybody. You know what you're good with, what you respond well to. I like little tips and tricks, just small things like whether they actually work or not. At least it makes me feel like doing something. Like in the morning, I like to throw cinnamon in my coffee. I drink my coffee black, going back to what you were saying, but sometimes you have to power through until you eventually can deal with stuff. So I drink my coffee black in the morning. I've mustered up the courage to do that. But sometimes I'll throw cinnamon in my coffee because that's like a little bit of a fat burner. And like Tony was saying before, you don't spike your insulin. So a lot of the times I also like to throw cinnamon like with my fruit, especially like with apples. I like to dice up apples, put in, put the slices in a bag, put a little cinnamon in and shake it up. So this way you have that cinnamon effect where you get the sugar from the apple, but your insulin doesn't go whoop, and then you go right back down. It has a little bit more of a gradual curve, so you don't feel that super crash afterwards, which is nice.
Yeah, I love that. If you like apples and cinnamon, Brian, try dicing that up, shaking them in, and throwing that in your oatmeal. See how that is.
Yeah, that's
It'll add the
a
sweetness,
very
right?
good thing. Yeah. So those are small things. I like little small tips and tricks, little, like we call them hacks or whatever. You'll hear that in the fitness community. I like exploring those options because I find that those are the more easy to digest, literally and metaphorically easier to digest. It helps you get into a more of a healthy frame of mind and pattern, versus just going about that radical change, like, oh, well, I can't eat all carbs, or I can't eat all fat, or trying to find which foods or this and that. I find making the small little adjustments throughout your day helps overall, just make the healthy choices easier in the long run. So
Yeah, I love it. That's perfect. You know what? I think Ray just volunteered himself to give you a hack a day for the next 30
Oh.
days. I think so.
Hack a day.
What do you think, Cindy? You think so?
Absolutely.
All right. There you go,
you're
Ray.
gonna make me start doing some research now. I'm gonna have to dig through my old notes.
You got so many of them. It's great. So, guys, we're going to sign off. But the last thing I'll say is don't try to change everything at once. Some of you will be able to do that. All right. I could do that. But I also realize that not everybody can do that. If you're the type of person that changes everything in one shot and then falls off because, oh my God, that was too much. Don't do it to yourself. Don't set yourself up for failure. Change one thing. If you're drinking soda, stop. Make the one change. If you're not drinking enough water, drink more. Cut out one, make one meal healthy. There you go. Good job, Cindy. Right? Make one meal a change. Right? Do something simple, commit to it, communicate it with us, and we'll help you. We'll ask you, how'd it go? Oh, look at the puppy. Did you give her a bath?
She's nasty.
Yeah, I know, but not when you bathe her. She loves baths.
No,
Right?
that, but
Yeah.
she's a bad girl.
All right, kids, listen. It was fun sharing with you. I hope this helped. If it was helpful to you, you're going to get to watch the recast. If it was overload, you get to watch the recast and all that stuff. But if it sparked up any questions that you didn't want to ask here or that come up later, all right, just reach out, man. So for any of you that are not on Facebook, create an account just to get into our group because we house everything there. We link it to YouTube. We link, our Instagram, but most of the stuff just lives easier on Facebook. So connect with me there if you're not connected with me. I'll add you to our public group where we have all this stuff stored. It's easy to find. You can also communicate with us. All right, guys, have a super duper
Thank
awesome night. Get some good sleep and no ice cream tonight. No cookies.
Nope.
All right,
right.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.